comment, like, and subscribe. What's happening, YouTube? So today this video will be sponsored by Anderson Ford Motorsport. What we're getting ready to unbox here is their TFI conversion kit. Basically it puts the TFI module from the distributor, it puts in a remote location wherever you choose. You get a new distributor, you get this harness that plugs in and everything ready to go when you're using the Holley EFI. This is the box, so see if we can get this open so you can check it out. Nice, right? So you get the box with the performance distributor in it. Here's the wiring harness. Here's the new TFI module. And this is the heatsink. So I'm gonna get all this out. This is gonna go in the 87 Saleen Foxbody. To prep, I've already pulled my stock distributor out. I put it on top dead center, lined up where my pointer needs to go. And so now I drop the new distributor in. It should be real close. I can fire it up and then set the timing. But what I think's happening is, I think the TFI module is dying. And talking to Donnie, he thinks my pickup might be going bad in here. But this TFI module, what happened, I run the car for about 10-15 minutes and it would randomly just shut off. Like all the ignition all staying on, but it was just no spark. And you could push the gas, do everything, it wouldn't do anything. You turn the key off and turn it back on, and if it was in gear, it'd fire right back up and run fine. I changed the TFI module for another brand new one I got from Ford, and it was worse. It actually cut off more and went to running worse than this one did. So I put this one back on for the time being. Called up Donnie over at Anderson Ford Motorsport, and he recommended this kit. He said this should fix it and prevent any future problems down the road. So because I've gotten all my Holley kits from him in the past, he's been great to work with. I figured I'd put this on and see what we can do. So now we're gonna put that on this car. Reset the timing, you go into your Holley, set the static timing and all, just like you normally would. And I'm thinking I may put that remote TFI somewhere over here. We'll see. All right, so got out of the box. This thing is really beautiful, right? You can see on the cab where number 1 is there, so that goes toward the back, and the plug there goes toward the front. So that's pretty straightforward. They do recommend in the instructions put a little bit of lube on the drive gear before you drop it in, just general maintenance, which I can do that. And then in the kit was a brand new TFI module here. Some of this, it's not really dielectric grease, but it's the thermal compound that you put on. Just a little bit on here before you bolt it down to the heat sink here. Take those screws out and put this on. And what that does is it helps distribute the heat properly. And I just got to find a place where to mount this. And then with the harness, once I get it all plugged in, I'll see where I can route it so it looks nice. But this is the lube they want you to use. Some distributor to give you this cam lube, which is cool in the pack. So just put some liberally around here and we'll be good to go. So now I'll go and I'll drop this in. All right, so I put a little bit of that cam lube on here. It's really runny, so it'll get everywhere. Just be careful. Took the cap off so I can line up my pointer when I drop it in. So we'll put the number 1 to the back. Try to drop this in. Just like that. Let me show you what it looks like. This car also has the Anderson Ford fuel rails on it, and you can see it does clear. And yeah, so now I have my pointer here where it was pointing before. Back here is number 1. So all that's pretty straightforward. And like I say, you can see it's tight, but it's got clearance there from the rail where it still moves around. So what you want to do is see how this will hit. If you're too close, you try to move that around so you can have room to adjust the timing if you need to. So that should be plenty of room for me to adjust it. If for some reason it's not, I can pull this out, rotate that even more, and give me more room to move it. Take my hold down, It goes right in here, just like the original factory one did. If you can see that. We'll tighten that down. Because I had my other distributor marked where it was supposed to be timed, I don't have this one because it's new. So I literally just kind of set where number 1 is here, and then we'll, you know, snug that down, get it running, put a timing light on it. And what you want to do is lock in the timing, whatever, 10 degrees, 20, whatever you want on your mark, and set that for static timing, and then set your mark. So I always do mine at 10. All right, now I'll put the cap on it, plug in the wires. It is a 13726548 firing order. So I'll get that hooked up, and then I'll hook in the wiring harness and install the remote TFI. All right, so just a test fit. So my original harness plugged in here to the TFI. And what happens is this harness runs back here behind the motor. See that one moving right there? That's gonna disconnect. This harness is gonna go away. This is gonna go back there and plug into it. And basically it's gonna stretch up here and plug into the distributor like this. The white wire replaces the white wire out of that harness here. And then this harness is where I can run it around whichever way I like the best to get to my remote TFI. I'm thinking about putting it down here. But either way, I've got to fish this wire through under the intake and pull the other one off. So let me do that real quick and then we'll continue on. All right, so what I'm doing now, this is the heat sink. There's a sticker on here. Remove the sticker and the glue residue. The TFI module fits either way. So we got that clean and ready. Now we take our TFI module. The back's clean. We'll just wipe it off to make sure. Like that. And now we're gonna take this silver thermal compound here, unscrew this like so, and then you're gonna make just a very small amount on here. Now that we have that, we're gonna simply stick it down on here, line the holes up like so. And I always like to smear it around just a little bit like that. Now that's on, drop our screws in here. And then tighten these up. Again, snug, don't just crank down, Rambo tight them, just snug. So I'll get those tight, and then I'll transfer it over to the car and we'll get it mounted up. By the way, this is a 5.5 millimeter socket. Okay, now that that's on, we'll transfer it over here. And what I picked was right here on the apron on the passenger side, right under my regulator. I'm gonna go here, have some existing holes here in the apron. I'm gonna put some screws down in it to hold that down. And then my harness just plugs right in. I did route the harness to hide as much as I could. So I'll get that screwed down, plugged in, and then we'll crank it up and we'll set the initial timing again, the static timing. All right, see the heat sink is mounted, it's all plugged in. Make sure you push it till it clicks all the way past the little retainer there. Wires all out of the way. I've got my timing light hooked up. Set static timing. We'll check this to 10 and then we'll hit set. All right, big shout out to Anderson Ford Motorsport, specifically Donnie, for recommending this distributor remote TFI upgrade. It installed very easily. It worked great. I drove the car around. It did perfectly fine. I let it sit here and run in my shop for over 20-25 minutes, and then drove it around for 20-25 minutes, just under an hour on it. It never hesitated. It never turned off like I was having before. It worked really well. That distributor is a really quality piece, really nice. When I first put it in, I actually had it off a tooth, so my timing was way high, and I was trying to retard it. I had to pull the distributor out, move it just a little bit, and drop it back in, and it was perfect. And I went into enable static timing. If you follow Donnie B on YouTube, he has a great video about how to set and enable static timing and what to do with it, and how to change inductance when you have the TFI module. And using that, mine worked great. I actually have my standard thing in the enable timing there at like 9 degrees. And I've got my inductance at like 150, and it seems to hold pretty steady. If you rev it up, it holds dead on the timing that you tell it to. So hope you enjoyed the video. Check out Anderson Ford Motorsport. I'll put a link in the description to get one of these parts. And also, if you got a Holley system you're looking to get at, I got one of his new Gen 3 harness kits on the car. Everything plugs right in and works beautifully. We'll talk to you next time.